Every city has a feeling. That's why it's sometimes hard to make guides for different cities, because you can't quite explain the feeling they give you. But somehow Stockholm is easier. It's my home. I grew up in this amazing city and found my favorite spots. That's why I want to build this guide around that feeling. To show you the old town, the sunset down by the quay, the archipelago, the islands, and the little gems that I, as someone raised here, have learned to love. This is Stockholm as I think you should see and feel it. Stockholm is water, islands and bridges surrounded by one of the world's most beautiful archipelagos. Stockholm is the pulse around Stureplan, the nightlife, trendy Södermalm with its cafes, bars and restaurants, Gamla Stan, or the old town as it's said, the heart of Stockholm with its beautiful alleys and charming cafes. One thing is certain, you won't be disappointed here. Whether you're looking for trendy nightlife, hipster bars with craft beer, or peace and quiet, history and sights, it's all here. Let's start by saying that a visit to Sweden's capital shouldn't be made without at least planning some time to explore the archipelago. If you have several days, I highly recommend going on a bit further out to discover just how incredibly beautiful it truly is. I have a fantastic guide here on the channel for everything you need to know about the Stockholm's archipelago. But even if you don't have time for that, I still think you should set aside at least half a day to visit one of the nearby islands. The archipelago begins just about half an hour outside of Stockholm city center. The closest one are Fjäderholmarna Islands, where a boat trip takes about 30 minutes. On board you can buy light snacks and drinks, and once there you'll find several restaurants, cafes and shops, as well as a lovely and authentic archipelago atmosphere, despite the fact that this is still essentially in the city. It might sound strange to recommend as the first tip in a city guide to Stockholm to leave the city, but it will be worth the time, I promise. And by the way, did you know that the Swedish word for island is simply ö? It's pronounced ö, and strangely enough is the only word I know that consists of just one letter. So an island in Swedish is simply an ö. Östermalm is where Stockholm whispers of elegance and history. It's a neighborhood where time seems to have slowed down, where wide boulevards are lined with grand buildings that have stood through centuries, watching the city evolve. There's a quiet charm here, a kind of understated luxury that you don't need to search for, because you feel it as soon as you arrive. It's in the stately facades, the gentle sway of trees in Humlegården, and the sound of footsteps echoing off cobblestone streets as people pass by their way to the next hidden gem. Strolling through Östermalm, you feel a sense of timelessness. It's a place where you can sip coffee at a chic cafe on Nybrogatan, surrounded by stylish locals. But Östermalm is more than just luxury. It's a feeling as well. It's the calm that comes over you as you walk by the waters of Strandvägen at sunset, where the boats gently rock against the docks and the city lights shimmer across the water like stars. Östermalm is the kind of place where you can get lost in the beauty of your surroundings and forget just for a moment the rush of everyday life. And that's the magic of it. It invites you, it makes you feel at home, and leaves you with a lingering desire to return. On the other side of town is Södermalm. As Öster means east, Söder means south, and as much as Östermalm is the elegant, rich part of town where most of the high-end luxury brands have their stores, Södermalm is the complete opposite. The hipster culture is woven into Södermalm's very fabric. It's in the craft beer bars where locals gather after dark, sharing stories of pints brewed just down the street. It's in the vintage shops and record stores where everything feels a little more unique, a little more personal. Södermalm has an effortless, cool and kind of laid-back charm that doesn't need to be announced. Södermalm invites you to come as you are, to linger a little bit longer and find a corner of the neighborhood that feels like it's yours alone. It's a place where the pulse of the city is strongest, but there's always a quiet moment waiting for you just around the corner. In the central parts of Stockholm, everything feels grander. Drottninggatan and Sergels Torg are the veins of the city, pulsing with energy as locals and tourists alike rush through their day. But here, too, there's beauty in the chaos. A view of the royal palace, the sound of water lapping against the quay, or the sights of Stockholm's skyline at dusk. The heart of the city is always moving, always alive. But there are moments where it feels like time stands still, even here, and you can pause to appreciate the elegance of the capital that never loses its charm.
We used to have a restaurant which was in the top 50 best restaurant in the world called Fjäderholmarna, which is also included on Netflix show Chef's Table. It was up in the Jämtland part of Sweden, close to the ski resort of Åre. The bartenders there moved out, started a bar in this red house called Röda Huset. Opened up this year and on its first try became the 31st bar in the whole world on the world's 50 best bars. We have made a reservation, we're on our way now. This is gonna be epic, I just know it. been following this channel for a long time, you know that Korean is one of my favorite cuisine in the entire world. And it all started on this street in Stockholm called Luntmakargatan when I first tried the restaurant Arirang. They have been open since 1975 and been owned in the same family for all those years. And I went here with my friend Marcus, who spent a lot of time in Korea, and said that this restaurant was also very authentic to the Korean food. Now we're heading there and try it one more time, and I'm so excited. Come with me.
But as corny and certain as it might feel, it is the old town, or Gamla Stan as it's named in Swedish, that is the heart of the whole city. And it is here you want to spend as much of your time in Stockholm as possible. But don't waste your time here with the tourist streets, the souvenir shops. I mean, go see it and feel it, and then quickly try and find the real charm of the old town. I promise, it's just around the corner. Winding cobblestone streets lead you through centuries of history, past colorful facades and buildings that have stood for hundreds of years, watching over the city as it has grown and changed. There's something magical about walking these streets, especially as the sun begins to set, casting a golden glow over the waterfront. Down by the quay, you can feel the breeze from the water as the day turns into night, the perfect backdrop for an unforgettable evening. Wander through the alleys until you find yourself in a small water cafe. Here, time slows down, and the world outside feels far away. Sitting there with a cup of coffee, you're wrapped in a warmth of the city's old heart, surrounded by centuries of stories. A dinner at Pastis is always something that I would recommend. It's tucked away in a cozy corner of the old town. Feels like a secret you just stumbled upon. The candlelight flickers softly as you enjoy French cuisine, surrounded by the charm of Old Town's intimate atmosphere. Me and Nadya choose to have our wedding party at this small cozy bistro. And I mean, I'm not saying you should get married here, but at least go and see it if you have time to do it. The old town is more than a place, it's a feeling, a place where you can lose yourself in history, indulge in unforgettable meals, and find peace along the quay as the city comes alive in the evening light. It's the beating heart of Stockholm, a place you'll carry with you long after you left. And that's the beauty of Stockholm. It's not just a city you'll visit, it's a city you feel, a city that leaves a mark. One that calls you back over and over. In the end, always remember, however, it is not about the destination, it is what you make of it that counts. Till next time, stay safe. Yeah. you.